What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Real Frame Reviews. I'm Scott, and today we're reviewing First Reformed. First Reformed was not in the theaters very long around here, so I'm glad I got in to see it. First Reformed is written and directed by Paul Schrader. For those of you who do not know Paul Schrader, he is the mastermind behind Taxi Driver and a lot of other great films. His style is very sexual. It's very graphic in ways. And if you've never seen Taxi Driver, then I wouldn't think that you'd understand what type of director and writer Paul Schrader is. First Reform stars Ethan Hawke, Amanda Seyfried, and Cedric the Entertainer. What it's about is Ethan Hawke as a pastor or a reverend, one of the two. And he serves as sort of an overseer of a historical church. And one day, Amanda Seyfried comes in to his office and asks if he would talk with her husband because he is just out of jail. They're having a child, and he does not want to bring the child into the world. What happens is Ethan Hawke talks to the man, and then slowly we understand and start to see a change in Ethan Hawke, and we find out a little bit of Ethan Hawke's backstory, what possessed him to become a man of the cloth, and then also his ideals and morals and how those change over the course of the film after meeting with Amanda Seyfried's character, or husband. And throughout this movie, you can see something going on that we don't see a lot of, at least now or recently. And even when we do, sometimes it's sort of panned and just basically said, talked about as boring filmmaking. But Paul Schrader uses the camera very, very slowly, very methodically. He doesn't move it a whole lot, and to be honest, there's not a whole lot of cuts going on between the characters. You'll see long pauses of the camera holding on a person, even if there are two people conversing in the scene. And what this makes for is something that's very different, because we're so used to seeing those quick cuts and action and a lot of the lines delivered really very fastly and frantically. And actually, this takes a step back. And what I really love about this is that it takes its time to tell its story. And obviously, coming from the mind of Paul Schrader, it is a very bizarre story. I mean, at one point, Ethan Hawke is an alcoholic. And at one point, he's dipping buttered bread, into, I think, a bowl of whiskey. It is insane. And it actually sort of, it is definitely Paul Schrader. Going into this movie, I had no expectations, zero expectations. I was going in completely blind to it. I had not seen a trailer for it at all, and there was one other person in the theater, and I think this dude left like 3 or 4 times. I don't know what he was doing, but back and forth. But I was enthralled by it. I really enjoyed it. I really was interested in the story. I thought Ethan Hawke's character, not Ethan character. Ethan Hawke's character was very fleshed out. I thought we learned a lot about him. I thought we become sort of sympathetic to his situation, and it goes into a lot more than just being a man of God and having to deal with certain scenarios and certain situations and having to treat people in a certain way. But it also shows, his downsides, his alcoholism, the way he treats people at certain times, and what happens so radically that you see churches and he has to deal with like this mega church that has sort of lent him out or lent his services out to this historical church. You see a lot about capitalism and crime and polluting and all that stuff. It's a very political film, and I think it gives you, it tells you what its stance is, but also in a way it also kind of it shows you sort of that double side in a way. Not really. It doesn't give you two sides of the story. It leaves an open ending, which I really enjoyed. Not much more to say about this one. I enjoyed it. I don't know when I'll go back to watch this one, but I left the theater thinking, wow, that was a ride. I do like to think during my movies. I do like somewhat open endedness in films. It doesn't bother me if someone closes it completely. It also doesn't bother me when someone leaves it wide open. It is a very unique film, and I think it's fun to just go in there and just take it all in. Um, for me, I'm going to give First Reformed a 3 out of 4 stars. Check us out if you're an Ethan Hawke fan. He does this fantastic job, and Seyfried is very good. Cedric the Entertainer is very, very strong in this movie, and there's a lot of good dialogue. There's a lot of good things going on. Very static camera in this, so if you feel like you're gonna get bored easily during something like that, and also it like most films, it's a political venture. So if you're not liking what they're gonna say, then you probably won't end up liking this movie. But go check it out if you have a chance. It's First Reformed. 3 out of 4 stars for me. Like, subscribe, comment. Thank you so much. Bye.